Welcome to the Tom Matt Show. You are walking through the front door of the retirement zone. And now, your host, Tom Matt.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Tom Matt Show. Thank you so much for joining us. Always a fun time. I got a guest I haven't had for a long time, a buddy of mine I haven't seen in a long time, unfortunately. Fortunately, now we're going to see him today. But before we get into that one, talking about the resilient entrepreneur, that's what I'm going to call this episode. Last week, we had another restaurateur on the show, Marcus Powers, and he is trying to revive and doing a pretty good job over at Airport Tavern and Steakhouse, which he's rebranding as ATS. And his experience in Las Vegas was really interesting. Got a couple of little kids, and he's just trying to get it done, just trying to get it done. That's all there is to it. Just like the guy that's going to be with us today. I can't wait to talk to this cat. It's been so long, and this guy's greatness. This story of Henry Meyer, and a lot of you may know Henry. You listen to the show on radio or getting the podcast here in Mid-Michigan or all over the place. Henry Meyer is a mainstay in the Mid-Michigan area. I'm going to let him tell his story, but you graduated from Eastern High School, 2003. You had ups and downs in your life, but you know what? Eastside Fish Fry was born, and I want to let you talk about that. But let me do a quick thing for you guys, everybody. In 2017, Guy Fieri featured, and we talked about this in an interview a long time ago, on Henry Meyer and his fantastic restaurant, Eastside Fish Fry. That was in 2017. He's still going. Now, Henry, from my notes that I have here, you needed to get that building bought. You bought that building and you were going to rent it out. And you had to start Eastside Fish Fry. So you were sort of forced into it. And that's how I'm setting this whole thing up, everybody. So just bear with me here. The resilient entrepreneur, this is what happens if you were going to be an entrepreneur like Henry. He's going to tell the story. I'll let him tell the story about his building in Eastside and 420, his other business that he has going, which is doing very well. But first, we're going to talk to Henry and get caught up on his family. He's a family man. He's a good dad, and he does some really great things in Mid-Michigan area, helping so many people, giving them a chance, giving people a chance. I want to welcome back to my radio program, my buddy, Henry Meyer. Henry, welcome back, bro.
Hey, what's up, Tom? How are you today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Let's do some, this is your life stuff here, bro. Let's talk about your family. I watch, your daughter is a tremendous athlete, Adriana. And yeah. I've watched through your social media and your life, and so I've kept tabs on you, as you know. I comment on your stuff occasionally, and it's like, talk about your family because you're a good dad.
I try to be. I think that's one thing that kind of stepped me up. Took me to the next level as a man. I was in prison for the beginning of my son's life until he was about 4. So I didn't really get to experience a lot of the things with him that I got to experience with my daughter. And I've learned so much from her. It's changed my outlook on, so many things in a good way. I'm blessed to be able to spend a lot of time with her. Me and her mom aren't together anymore, but we get along very well. We're very friendly. We share very well with her. We co-parent very well. We're able to, discipline her very well. We're able to also, just bounce off each other. As opposed to being against each other, which is really nice.
Oh, that's solid, man. It's very solid. Well, she's going to be a teenager soon. And last time I had you on the show, she was 5 years old. And I've just watched, she just compete in the gymnastics? Is that where she's at?
Yeah, that's her favorite sport is gymnastics. She does softball too also.
Good.
She's really interested in lacrosse. So that's something she might try when she starts high school. We'll see. But right now she's really focused on gymnastics. She just got done with regionals. She made it to states. She did really good at states, which then made her go to regionals. And we just got back from Indiana last weekend. She finished 8th out of 30 girls.
Oh, fantastic. How is it now?
The whole region. I mean, that's
fantastic. I mean, it's very, very competitive. We're talking to Henry Meyer, my guest today, everybody, my buddy, calling this one the resilient entrepreneur, and you'll see why in a second. Now, you mentioned quickly about your little stint with the law. Let's expand on that a little bit. Just talk about how that helped shape you as a man, and actually kind of led you into other good things down the road. Please talk about that a little bit, if you don't mind.
Well, I got arrested by the federal DEA in 2009, and they released me at the end of 2012. And we started the restaurant. It's taught me resilience. It's taught me a lot of failures are sometimes inevitable, but you got to fight through those things. Everybody's going to fail, but not everybody's going to be able to overcome them. It took a lot of late hours. I worked 16, 18-hour days for, months long. I got pictures of me here at the restaurant before we did our makeover. I was just looking at them the other day and going through my old pictures. And it was like, the picture says it was like 3 a.m, and I took a picture of myself and stuff, and you can just see it in me. I'm looking into my eyes, and a lot of people would just see a tired man. But when I look at him, I see a man that's ready to just hit the sack, right here. I'm probably going to sleep here that night. That's why I got a bunk in my office back then. I'm probably going to sleep there that night. It's probably 3 a.m. I'll wake up about 9, start setting everything up, and be open by 11. Those are the days that not a lot of people remember, because not a lot of people were here for those days. And I never forget them. And I think that's what's helped our growth. I was here for those first 2 years pretty much every single day. I got to meet a lot of my customers that are still customers to this day. And I've got friends now that I've met back then, some of my first customers that I still talk to and hang out with today. And I think being in trouble like that has given me a lot of hunger. I was already a kind of a hungry guy, always wanting, just to do more and to be able to help more and do more things, not only just for myself, but also my family and my community and my people. And being in prison, took some time away from me. Obviously, took a lot of finances away from me, and I was able to get out. And I had a lot of people that love me still, and the neighborhoods love me. And now we're slanging as much chicken as we can, man.
Well, we're going to talk a lot about slinging and dinging here, because Henry Meyer's here, and this is a fun show because Henry gives people a chance, because he needed a chance. And when you talk about, you kind of glossed over the building, but you bought that building, and you were actually not going to open a restaurant. You were trying to rent that out. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's one of the buildings that that they didn't steal from me, that the feds didn't take from me. And so when I got out, it was rented to a dollar store the whole time I was in prison. And when I got out, it was about 6 months. They hadn't paid the rent, so they had to go. And then we opened up the fish market there. So without that building, I don't know where we'd be. It was a blessing that we still had that. And now, we're hiring anywhere from 60 to 70% of our staff is, ex-felons or people that have, recently got out of prison. And it's working really well for us. Some of our best employees are people that we met that thought maybe they could only do one thing, or maybe they were one-sided, or maybe they were nervous, or they were just so down, beaten down from the nose and the nose and the nose. And we'll get in touch with you later, and then they never get the calls, and then somebody finally gave them a shot, and those are the guys and gals that are just absolutely kicking ass when I need them to.
Well, this is the whole thing, everybody. And again, Henry Meyer's our guest today, the resilient entrepreneur. Henry has several businesses that he owns, and he has grown through the time. He's had Eastside Fish Fry for about 14, 15 years now, and it's become a mainstay in mid-Michigan. You support a lot of high school athletes. I've seen that with the East Lansing kids. Henry, I'm going to have to take this thing through break, but we'll come back. When we come back from break, everybody, we'll talk more about how Henry's life has evolved, how he helps the Lansing community, because I'm all about supporting mid-Michigan and Lansing community. That's why we had Marcus Powers on last week. He was a new, I just met him. I've known Henry for years. And it's just like, we want to support Lansing business, just like Henry does with his businesses. He helps people in our community, and it's vital that we do that. I mean, the story is huge. He's an Eastern High School graduate, and he's all about giving people a chance. We'll talk more about this when we come back again. Henry Meyer's with me, the resilient entrepreneur. He knows Guy Fieri. He was on Diners and Drive-Ins in 2017. We can look that one up. We'll talk about that here in a second when we come back. But again, stick around, everybody, because Henry Meyer is a great interview, and this is a fun show. Calling this one the Resilient Entrepreneur. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to this week's episode of Tom Matt Show. Henry Meyer is my guest today, the resilient entrepreneur. Buddy from long ago. This segment sponsored by Brock Fletcher at the selling team of Keller Williams Realty, where trust is his middle name, just like my partner, Henry Meyer at Eastside Fish Fry, the resilient entrepreneur, today's guest. Trust. In real estate, you need to have trust. You must have trust. Call Brock today, 517-853-6408 or 517-303-3262 is Brock's cell phone number. Use that, text him, and give it a shot. Go online to kwsellingteam.com, sweet website. You go to our website, tommattshow.com, where we have like 25 episodes that you can just kind of rifle through and check out his different topics that we talk about, because every homeowner is different. Every situation is different. Maybe it's an investment property like my guest today, Henry Meyer, has investment properties all over the place. You need to have realtors that you can trust implicitly. Brock Fletcher's the guy. Most agents start marketing with you after you list with them, not Brock. Brock's investing money now because he wants to do the best job he can for you, and he will. I want to say thank you and hello to Joan Wright, customer of Brock's. Joan Wright lives in Williamston. She listens to the show all the time, every time that we're on WKAR. My guest today, Henry Meyer, the resilient entrepreneur with Henry Meyer. Now, Henry, we were talking about your daughter, Adriana, and how much that was impactful for her as her athleticism takes off. And you are one of those parents who, just like my daughter, Ashley, and her husband, Matt, travel all over the place for these events. You said you were in Indiana last week for the event. Talk about for the regionals. Talk about how much, and for other parents out there, how much that athleticism and that teamwork and that self-discipline has really, really influenced your daughter's growth now that she's almost 13 years old.
Well, I mean, honestly, it's incredible. I see instances all the time, just, living with her and being around her where she physically, she catches her balance, she's fallen somewhere and she knows how to fall so she doesn't hurt herself. It's just so many of the little things that they teach them. And it's natural to her because she's been doing it for so long. And then mentally, she's had failures. She's had, she's tried to get a move for a week or two or three and couldn't get it. But she persevered. She was determined and she figured it out. She kept going. And now she's got that move. And then she's on to the next one. So it's taught her, barriers. It's taught her how to break through those barriers. It's also taught her, confidence of knowing that she can do something if she just keeps, up to it. So all of those big things that she's learned there that obviously as parents, we try to teach them that too. But sometimes it's good to have a kid that can learn those things on their own when daddy and mommy aren't right there. Sometimes, kids learn even better from strangers, or from a different adult than they do from their parents because, they get a little bit older and then they don't want to listen to you for that stretch, So, yeah, but right now, me and her got a really good relationship and we talk about a lot of stuff and she knows that she can always come to me for help or ideas or suggestions. And so it's a blessing. And I think gymnastics has helped a lot with that. And even just giving her something to compete. She likes to compete. She's a big, competitor. And so that's, even if she's competing sometimes against herself,
right.
What can I do better, this time and stuff. So I think that's been great. And I would highly recommend any sport for a kid, but just because you try something, basketball and the kid doesn't like it, that doesn't mean they don't like sports. That just means you try a different one. Right. But I think it's important for kids to have some type of an outlet like that where they can learn teamwork and that, a coachable kid is a hireable kid, is a hireable adult, and you got to be hireable, period. You have to be able to get hired, even if you're going to work for yourself and be your own boss. Somebody's got to pay you. You got to get hired by somebody.
Well, you know that very well when you're building your restaurant because you never really intended on Eastside Fish Fry at first. You're a real estate investor. And after your little stint with the federal government, which that's an old story, and we don't have to go back into that again. But talk about, okay, building Eastside Fish Fry, because Adriana's done well, but it's because you work so hard, and we want to get into the why of Eastside Fish Fry and how you've helped so many people, because you've said 60 or 70% of your employees are former felons. So, and that's giving people an opportunity. Please talk about the whole, let's start the story of Eastside Fish Fry in that building, please.
Yeah, well, so when I got out of prison, it was the only building I still had, and it was empty. So I had to do something. I was either going to kind of fix it up and rent it or sell it, one or the other. And while I was there fixing it up, I had a lot of, old school buddies would come by, and, we'd hang out a little bit, chop it up. And while I was there, the dollar store had a small, like, sub shop in there. So there was like a remnants of a restaurant in a small portion of it. There was a hood and stuff. And I would, I'd be cooking. I couldn't leave. I was on house arrest and stuff. So like it was either home or there, right? That was the only place I was permitted to go. So I would cook a lot there, and my buddies would stop by and they'd eat some of my food. And there was different recipes that I had known for a long time. Some of it was recipes I had learned in prison. You learn new things when you have minimal seasonings and minimal opportunity to use different things. So the guys kept coming over and eating the food. They really liked it. Next thing you know, one day we were just talking as friends, and they were like, well, why don't you open up a restaurant? And then, well, the first reason, because I never even thought about it. I never owned a restaurant, never worked in a restaurant. My daddy never owned a restaurant. But I kind of just, it was either that or I was going to get myself back into things that I shouldn't be doing. So I kind of just,
which weren't leading you down the path of success as you wanted to be. Those choices that you make, because it's really important to talk about that. And the whole thing with Eastside Fish Fry, you become a mainstay in mid-Michigan. We've only got a minute to go on break here, but when we come back, everybody, talk about Henry Meyer's success with Eastside Fish Fry. He's also owned 420, a marijuana dispensary in Lansing. And we're going to talk about that during the show, because this is all about entrepreneurship and work ethic. And so with your daughter, I wanted to ask you, and I forgot to do this, so I want to follow this up because I got only 30 seconds to go, but how has her athleticism affected her academics?
Well, I think, so my daughter, she enjoys school, so I'm lucky there. She typically gets A's, B's, and C's, which I'm happy with. Some things she likes better than others, but I think school is important to her. So, she still enjoys going to school. I think maybe some kids that don't enjoy sports or don't enjoy school, they would have a hard time balancing them. But she, luckily for me, because I'm not the best, I was never the best student in school. But luckily for me, she likes school, and I think it gives us something to say. Well, listen, man, if you don't, if you're not doing better in school, you can't do gymnastics. So it gives us something like that.
We're going to go to break here. The Resilient Entrepreneur is with me, Henry Meyer. This story has many, many layers. Stick around, everybody. We got more coming at you. Again, Henry Meyer's here, the Resilient Entrepreneur. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Thank you again to Brock Fletcher, real estate agent at the selling team with Keller Williams Realty. For more information on services provided by Brock, please call his personal cell phone at 517-303-3262 or by emailing Brock at kwsellingteam.com. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to this week's episode of Tom Matt Show. Thank you to Sandy for doing the bumper. The only time you ever hear her voice on radio are in those bumpers on radio. On the podcast, you won't hear that. But our guest today, Henry Meyer, the Resilient Entrepreneur. Henry Meyer is, as I said earlier, a graduate of Lansing Eastern High School, 2003. He's been featured on Guy Fieri's unbelievable show, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, back in 2017. So he's been around for a while. I've got to do another read here for my sponsor, Brock Fletcher. And this is one of my favorite spots, everybody, on the radio show, is the testimonials. You get a lot of testimonials. Henry was just talking about his testimonials from his buddies, encouraging him to open his restaurant. It's funny how these testimonials work, but this is from Jim and Linda and Mason. They're customers, former customers of Brock Fletcher. And once you're a customer of Brock Fletcher, just like when you're a customer of Henry Meyer, you're probably going to be a customer for a long time because you're going to get such good service. They're going to take care of you. Listen to this review from Jim and Linda. The selling team at Keller Williams Realty provided us with excellent service, bold type, and communication through the entire process of both selling and buying our home. Just like Sandy and I did when we sold Big House, we actually had 3 mortgages at the same time for about 2 months. Tell me that wasn't stressful. I mean, that was crazy. They kept us well informed every step of the way. This helped us keep our stress at a minimum since we had lived in our prior home for 37 years. We would definitely recommend the selling team. That's Jim and Linda from Mason. What a great testimonial that is. Back to the episode today. Henry Meyer's my guest. Henry Meyer's a buddy. I've known him for a long time. He's a mainstay and staple in the mid-Michigan area in Lansing because of what we were talking about earlier with his support of his employees. And Eastside Fish Fry has become, actually kind of legendary, hasn't it, Henry? I mean, because now you're doing NIL work with some high school kids. Talk about that too, and supporting the community because you do a ton of community outreach. And then we'll get into the graduate parties that we want to promote. So let's talk about all the good things that you're doing in the community because you do so much.
Well, the NIL deals were super cool, super different. You know, we actually we made history. We were the first business to offer an NIL deal to a high school athlete in the state of Michigan. And so that's, we did it the day after they made it legal. We were already on the forefront. We already had our ducks in a row and we could move on it.
How did you
I thought that was...
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but how did you pull that off? I mean, you had this all set up. So, I mean, because we've done shows on the NIL stuff and it's still so wide open. How did you get that all lined up?
We just, over the years, our network is strong. People can, they know that they can, trust what I say. I'm going to perform every time. I'm not going to make excuses. I'm not going to, come up with different reasons why I can't do things. So I think it's just that strong network and that strong work ethic, like you said, just to get things done. When I come in and I say, we're going to do this, we're going to knock that out, we're going to do this next, people know it's going to happen. So I think that played a big part of it. And then also, the network of, I know so many people through, I've been in Lansing my whole life. So I know people from years ago. I got a really good, strong name, and I think, it's benefited us and it's going to benefit us for years to come.
Having a strong reputation and it's again with the resiliency, reputation and resiliency is hugely important. So talk about the athletes that you've helped. Who have you been connected with and how has it worked out for you? Has it been good?
Oh, it's been fantastic. Our numbers are always good on social media. We stay pretty active. But when the first 2 weeks that we signed, Keyshawn Somerville is the gentleman from Sexton. He's a senior this year. And he was he broke the record all-time leading scorer at Sexton this year. He also broke another record for the most points scored in a game. He's just a beast. He's a very good kid. I met his family. He's got a strong foundation, got a great father. Me and his father have become friends, actually. I talk to him quite often. Very good person. Keyshawn has sent us from right around 300 to 400,000 views every 30 days on social media to 1.7 million for those 30 days, those first 30 days that we had him signed. We had 1.7 million views on our social media. It was bananas. I mean, my phone was ding, 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 ding all day long. We still, we had a contract with him, so we're still working with him. We still do social media content. We still talk to him. We have merchandise that we sell for him. He's making money. He's learning new things. He's networking. He's meeting new people. And then our second deal was with a gentleman named KJ Torbert. He is Mr. Basketball from East Lansing High School. Went to the Breslin Center, second year in a row. State champs last year. Absolute just beast on the floor. I went to watch all of his games, him and Keyshawn's. I went to as many as I could. And the support that we get from each other, like I said, I get to introduce these kids to new network people, other business owners, people that they're going to be able to learn from and use for years to come, all types of different people. And so I think that's a great thing for them. I've been able to mentor them a little bit. They ask me some questions about business, finances, things like that. And, I'm always able to, answer those questions in a fair and honest opinion. And so I think that's really cool. It's given me an option, in an area that I think I've always been anxious to, teach people, new things and different avenues. So I think that's super cool for me. And the kids have KJ and Keyshawn are their friends. So we do a lot of times we're all together, all three of us, and we get to just talk and they get to ask me questions. And branding is so important for these young athletes now, especially with this NIL coming into effect. And so we're able to teach them a little bit about how we brand and what we do and what works, what doesn't work, so they don't have to waste time and money at doing some of those things. So it's super cool. All their parents have been super helpful and super, happy that we're, spending time with them. And to be honest with you, man, the kids have made some money. We got a meal named after both of them. And so if you come in and you buy their meal, they get $1 every time, and so it's a way for them to understand income and, start talking about, taxes and things that some kids don't learn until it's too late. And now they owe taxes or they messed up or whatever. And so I think it's a great thing. And I think it's cool that I've had a lot of people reach out to me, like parents from kids that might be, sophomores or freshmen, and hey, this is my kid's name, and this is what he plays basketball, or he plays this sport, or she, or I'd love for you to come watch them, and to give people that confidence in that area to be able to say, hey, let's see if this small business might want to, do some sponsoring for my child. And, back in the day, I got off on the wrong side. I played baseball and I loved it and I was pretty good. I don't think I could have necessarily went anywhere super big, but, I might have gotten something that might have kept me cleaner, might have kept me my eyes focused where I needed to be if I had an opportunity to maybe meet business owners and do these things. So I think it's cool for me to be in a position to maybe help a kid stay on the right path as opposed to maybe leaning to the left path like I did, because maybe he's focused on something like this. So it's just super cool for me, from my perspective, to be able to see it and be able to help these young men and women get to some new goals and new steps in their life. Super cool.
So awesome. That is such a great, I mean, when you don't hear me talk on this radio show for like 7-8 minutes, and I just have a guest talking like that, like Henry just did, that's impactful. What he's done, the knowledge transfer, I'm going to carry this through, Henry, because we're going to go to break here, but what Henry just talked about with the high school NIL, and I know there's going to be people out there that are cutting and hating on people. You know what? It is what it is, everybody. Deal with it. I mean, if we can help these young people, fantastic. Henry is a trendsetter. He's a pioneer with this kind of stuff. He was the first one ever in Michigan to do this kind of stuff. And it's really paying off. The relationships, your reputation, fantastic. And I just love the knowledge transfer because that's how we help our young people. That's how I do my coaching when I help people. We were talking about not being a parent and having people outside to help. Henry Meyer's here, owner of Eastside Fish Fry and 420, the resilient entrepreneur. We'll talk more about both of those businesses, how they came to be again with Eastside and then 420. You're listening to The Tom Matt Show.
This segment of The Tom Matt Show is brought to you in part by The Source of Light and Power by band leader Archibald and broadcaster Mitch Anderson. Hear the sound that is endorsed by Odyssey headphones, linear tube audio, RME converters, and Peluso microphones at sourceoflightandpower.bandcamp.com.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. This week's episode of Tom Matt Show, the resilient entrepreneur from my buddy Henry Meyer. Unbelievable. If you did not have a chance, if you just joined the show, go back and get the podcast, because what Henry was just talking about in segment 2, actually segment 3, now that I look at my screen, he is a pioneer when it comes to helping these young people, and he's got opportunities. He's got special. He's got all kinds of good stuff going on. Henry, how would you like people to connect with you?
Well, a really good way for people to connect directly with me is an email. If you want a catering order, if you have a question about hiring, if you have a question about doing some sponsoring or anything like that, we have email eastsidefishfry@gmail.com. That goes directly to me. And also you can call the store if you want to place an order, 517-993-5988. And as far as location, we are right on the east side of Lansing, right before the highway of 127 on Kalamazoo Street, right off the highway. We're about a half a mile from the Breslin Center. Very easy location to get to. And, if you haven't been there, we have a website, www.eastsidefishfry.com. We have our menu on there. We have some pictures of our food. We have some stories about where we come from. And it's a very nice website. That's the best way to get a hold of us. And I wanted to make sure we mentioned something that's coming up super cool that you'll really like, Tom, is April 25th. We're doing a 10% give back to an organization called Small Talk of Lansing, Small Talk CAC. And it is a child abuse organization that pretty much if a child goes through some things and the family might not have means for counseling and things like that, Small Talk, my friend Alex Brace over there, who is the man over there, gets in touch and figures out a way to help these families and help these young children who have been through such a traumatic event regrow, and learn new things and learn new ways to handle them. And it's free. It's all supplied. So we're going to be on April 25th coming up. I believe it's this Saturday. We're going to do 10% of everything that comes in to the restaurant. You don't even have to tell us that it's Small Talk. We're just automatically 10% of everything that we bring in is going to Small Talk. And this is our first month doing it. It's our first event like this, but we already have other ones planned for each month for the next 6 months, different organizations. We have a couple small youth basketball teams that we're doing this with just to help more kids get into school, get into programming. Maybe a kid's got a lot of, talent and, a lot of knowledge and things that he can do, but maybe he's got a tough foundation at home. He's got some parents that are going through some tough things. They don't have the extra funds, but we're able to help, give them an opportunity and a chance to thrive. And I think if we talk about it and we spread this, 5 or 10% from a business isn't going to hurt that business one day, a month if they pick it out. But if you get 10, 20, 30 businesses doing this, now we're able to really impact a lot of these small organizations that, they don't need thousands of dollars from, big companies, but $200 or $300, $400 on a, weekly or bi-weekly basis from different businesses in town. If we're able to maybe even get a small network of people that are willing to do this. I mean, it's something I've had in the back of my mind for a while. And so we're starting to put our money where our mouth is, and so we're going to show and we're going to show people and talk about it. And hopefully some people might want to reach out and join me. Some people might want to start doing something like this. I think it's going to be beautiful. April is Child Abuse Awareness Month, so that's why we chose that for this month. And if you have any more questions, Alex Brace over at Small Talk is an awesome guy, and he's here to really help these kids through a tough moment in their life. And we feel blessed to be able to be a part of that on April 25th.
Let me tell you, and this is not just in April. This is going to carry on. And again, Henry's a trendsetter. And he's a pioneer when it comes to a lot of this stuff. But let me tell you guys, because I have grandchildren who are competitive athletes, and they're the same age as Adriana, my granddaughter at least, and I see the cost that's involved with all of this specialized training. Henry's very aware of all of this. And some of these kids come from tough families that they don't have the means to be able to pay for all of this specialized coaching. Henry, congratulations on what you're doing, because more people need to step up. I've talked about this on the show a lot, because how many athletes, how many kids are going to fall through the cracks because their parents just they don't have that $100 for that coaching session for a month or whatever, however that works out. So good for you on doing all that, man. That's fantastic. And I hope it all comes to be. What was the other event that you had? You said you had a signing event or something coming with one of your athletes.
Yeah, something super cool. KJ Torbert from East Lansing. He is going to be at the Eastside Fish Fry restaurant in the lobby on May 1st doing autograph signing. He's also going to have some of his exclusive merchandise that he'll have here to sell for anybody that wants to come by and get a autograph with him and a photo with him also. It'll be super fun. It'll be cool. We're going to have deals on food that day. He's got his own meal here. We're going to do half off his meals all day. So come and support a local business and come and support a local gentleman who's really putting Lansing on the map. East Lansing also on the map. He's Mr. Basketball. His dad was Mr. Basketball 25 years ago. He's a good kid, very nice, very well-spoken young man, very determined. It's just motivating to watch him as you hear about our newest generation, this and bad stuff, this and that. But then you meet some of these young kids like I have had the opportunity to, and you're just like, hey, man, maybe it's not all bad. Maybe there is some hope. So it's nice.
I totally agree with you because I do a lot of coaching with students at Michigan State, as you might know. And it's like, as a coach and outside of the parent, this is really important to get with these kids and learn about what they need. Because if we don't talk to them and we don't listen, we're never, and this is where a lot of older adults, especially adults my age, they're a little intimidated by these kids because of either technology or whatever. They think they don't, have the confidence. These kids need us to step up like Henry's doing. All right. So let's keep that in mind, everybody. Talk about the restaurant a little bit and Guy Fieri, because we'll finish this segment. We got about 3 minutes to go here. How exciting was that for you to be featured on a television show like that, almost 10 years ago? But how much did that help your business and how exciting was that?
Well, it was, man, that's a heck of a story. I'll try to fit it all in quickly. So that year, the year before, we had gotten our EBT license, they took it from all of us, everybody that was like us. We used to be able to take EBT, and then they said no more. That was like a third of our business. And we were really struggling, honestly, when that happened. And when Guy Fieri decided to put us on the show, it put us on the map. I mean, that's a national TV show. And it was like one of the best shows back in the day. So when he did that, when he came, Lansing really showed out for us. I mean, there was a line out the door for, man, I'd probably say at least 60 to 70 days. I mean, it was just crazy. And so it changed my life. It changed my life. It changed a lot of, it allows me to change a lot of other people's lives, giving second chances. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to be slanging chicken on this corner probably to after I die. Hopefully one of my family members want to take it over. And so I'm not going to let the opportunity, I'm not going to let these things that, caused me so much harm and stuff in my life die in vain. I'm not going to let that things happen in vain. I'm going to do something with my life. I'm going to do something for other people. And that's just the way it is. Ain't nobody going to stop me.
No, nobody's going to stop Henry Meyer. That is for darn sure. Well, we still got a minute or two to go in this segment. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about graduation parties. Let's promote that real quick and talk about some of the specials that you can have. And when do people need to get with you? Because as this show will air, we want to make sure that it's evergreen enough. But how do people, for weddings, for graduation parties, for any special events, tailgates, you do it all, don't you?
Oh, yeah. We do it all. We deliver, we do catering, we do, just drop off food catering. We also do full service catering to where, I can bring 2 or 3 of my people there and we can set everything up. We can keep things cleaned up during your event. We can reserve people when they come back up. Well, you can have somebody there to be serving, and then we can clean up and we can take everything with us. We also do that. And so it depends on what you need, but man, one thing about dealing with us, I like to think of us as the home team. You just give us a call and we're going to take care of it. We're right here. Doesn't have to go up a corporate ladder. We don't have to send emails. One of my people are just going to call me directly and ask me, hey, can we do this? We need to do that. We need to do this. We need to change it up. And we're going to make it happen. Easy peasy, and I think that's the benefit of dealing with a local company that a lot of people sometimes forget about, or sometimes, they don't necessarily care about it. But I think being a local company, we're always able to do that extra step. We're willing to make those extra changes. So I think it's nice for a customer to know that we're willing to do that.
Listen to Henry Meyer, the resilient entrepreneur. Now you know why I call him the resilient entrepreneur, because this guy is just all over the place with all of his ideas, his promotions, his service. That's the thing about it. The food's great, and if you're a health nut, kind of like I am, don't let the fried thing scare you away, because Henry has told us before, it's not always about fried. There's other ways of doing and preparing the food.
On the grill, yeah.
Henry Meyer's here, the resilient entrepreneur. We got one more segment to go here. You're listening to The Tom Matt Show.
Thank you again to Brock Fletcher, real estate agent at the selling team with Keller Williams Realty. For more information on services provided by Brock, please call his personal cell phone at 517-303-3262 or by emailing Brock at kwsellingteam.com. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Having a blast on this episode with my buddy Henry Meyer, owner of Eastside Fish Fry and 420 Marijuana Dispensary in Lansing, the resilient entrepreneur. Henry, you got several other businesses besides Eastside and 420. Don't you have a car wash and some other things? I mean, you're dabbling in all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. We took, you got to create more, different streams of revenue. You never know when something's going to go down and up, the ebb and flow.
Is that advice you would give to people that are thinking about being an entrepreneur? Some of the lessons that you've learned, would you encourage that?
I'd give that advice to everybody, even if you aren't an entrepreneur and you might just have a gig, a 9-to-5 gig. I would still try to find other ways to make money, whether it's, I'm not big on the stocks, but, stocks, or whether it's a really small business where you just do it once or twice a week, a week or a month or something, but just have something that you can use if you ever need to barter with anything. You just never know. I like to be prepared.
It's good to have options and side action. I mean, that's how we started this radio show 15 years ago now. 15th season that we've been in this thing. It's been great. It's crazy how some of this side game can change your life. Let's talk about some more side action with your 420. Now, I want to be clear here with everybody, and I've talked about it on the show, and Henry probably doesn't know this, but I've had both my knees replaced within the last 7 months. I'm having a hip replacement here in about 4 days. So I'm kind of like the bionic man, but I've had my medical marijuana card for a long time. And because I was treating and my doctors were supporting this, my medical marijuana use for my arthritic knees, which was terrible. Let me tell you, the reason you get knee replacements because you have terrible arthritis, and I'm an active guy. And so that's just the way it is. It's fine. But I had a lot of good results with my treatments with medical marijuana. And it's been really hard to find guests. I've only had one other guest on the show that was willing to talk about the marijuana industry, how fortunate it is that Michigan has the medical marijuana and or the recreational side, if you want to go that way too. I have been alcohol free for 27 years, but I support medical marijuana because it's a plant and it works. And so, Henry, talk about 420. How did that all come to be?
So when I got out of prison and I, realized that I just got out of prison for something that other people are doing legally, and it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, honestly. And it made me kind of determined to try to, get back to the legal game. But when I got out, it was recently enacted law, and they didn't even allow somebody who had a felony for marijuana to even apply for a license. So they were allowing people who'd never even dealt with marijuana before in their life get a license, but they weren't allowing the person who just served 4 years in federal prison for marijuana to get a license, which I thought was just absolutely crazy. But those are the laws. So we fought, hired attorneys, took us about 6-7 years, and we finally secured a license. It was a very cool license. It's a micro business license, so we can grow our own product and have a retail business on the same property. So the cool thing and niche about our business is that when you come into our store, you're not getting products that are bought from Detroit or brought in from Colorado or tested here or tested there, and maybe it's a fake test, maybe it's lies. Everything that you buy in our store is grown by us in-house. So it allows us to control the terps, the taste on the marijuana. It allows us to control the effects on the marijuana, what people want, what people don't want. And it also gives people some type of security knowing that we're not outsourcing the product, just for profit. Because that's what happens. People, when you call somewhere and, they end up buying cheaper product where, it might not be as clean. It might be, and I think people are finally starting to realize that. When I first got into this market, I thought I had made a big mistake just with the prices the way they were and the taxes the way they are. There was just not a lot of profit in there. And then, people, man, their customers are so, they get tricked. And there's a lot of these corporate dispensary owners are very good at it. And it's sad, but it is what it is. I think if somebody understands dispensaries and they go to one right now, they have a favorite and it's like a corporate type of thing, I would just encourage you to come in and check us out, smell our products, meet our people, see how our products eat. They all smell different. They all look different. You got a lot, you go to a lot of these places and they look the same. They smell the same. It's there's a lot of reasons and we're not going to get into that now, but it's a lot of it's just a scam. A lot of it's a sham. And I'm sorry to say that and break people's hearts, but that's the truth.
It's all money. And Amanda Chicago Lewis was the woman that I had on. She's a big writer for New York Times and High Times magazine and Wired magazine. I found her, and she's the person I interviewed. The only other person who was willing to come on the radio show and talk about the marijuana industry. And you said something interesting that she actually said as well, that there is not a lot of money to be made in this industry because it's so saturated and the corporate entities have come in. So it's interesting to hear your business model. You're such a cool guy when it comes to these different business models. You're willing to try something out of the norm. And so talk more about 420. What type of products do you have over there? Can you get recreational and medical there? Is that how that works? Because I'm not quite sure how the business side of it works. Do you have edibles? Do you have what kind of products do you have? So please talk more about it.
Yeah, we have every product that all the other dispensaries have in town. We have gummies, we have disposable vape cartridges, we have 510 carts, we have flour. I think we have some of the best flour in town. It's really good. We have chocolates, we have everything. Topicals, lotions. We've got everything that somebody would want. And typically we're either, same price or a little bit cheaper. And especially with our flour right now, our flour is, it's tough. It's going to be tough for you to find a better flour at the price point that we are at. We have different tiers. We have like 7 different tiers starting out, inexpensive, starting out, getting a little bit more expensive. But I think we have a great flour. It's clean. Where it came from right inside that building. And everybody's from Lansing that works there. It's a local company.
How do you manage? I'm just thinking about all this stuff that you're doing. I mean, between the 420, the restaurant, supporting all these athletes, your daughter, your family, how do you manage all of this as an entrepreneur, as a dad, as a leader? What's the secret sauce?
I think the secret sauce is to don't think about it in an overwhelming way. I think there's a lot of people that are just as busy as me, if not busier. Think about an Elon Musk, a Joe Rogan. Those guys are still operating and still making it do. You hire people, you delegate, you learn new tasks. You learn new ways to make things faster. And you don't make excuses, man. It's a lot. Sometimes it's easier for people to just be like, I can do that tomorrow. A big saying that I live with. And I really live with it by strong is and I teach my kids it's never okay to be okay, right? Never. And okay is good. It's better than bad, right? But if you're okay, you could have been better. You could have been good. You could have been great. You could have been awesome. You could have been unstoppable. But instead, you're just okay. So I'm not saying that I go to bed every night and I feel like I did great, good, awesome, fantastic. But I don't go to bed thinking I did okay today, and that's okay. I think, Henry, you did okay today, but you could have did this. You could have, worked a little bit smarter, quicker. You could have bought a different tool to be able to operate smoother. And instead of you getting, you got 12 things done today. You knocked 12 things off your list today. Good for you, but you could have knocked 14 if you would have did this. And that's, some of that's self-inventory. Some of that is just being able to say, Henry, you didn't do that as good as you could have did it. And a lot of people are tough. They're not able to say that to themselves. They're not able to say, Henry, you messed up today. Not Tom, not the scissors weren't sharp. No, man, you didn't cut the paper right. It's simple as that. It's just the little things that people aren't willing to say. That was my fault, bro. It's not my employee's fault. It's not my manager's fault. I could have done something to make it different or better, and I didn't do it. So instead of me blaming, instead fix it. Fix the problem. And if that means it's you, well, then pick up your, get your tears away and get your big boy pants on and be able to say, you made a mistake today, Henry. You cost yourself money. You cost yourself time. Let's make a difference and make it next time that opportunity comes, you don't mess it up. And I think that's important for people to just understand it's not okay to be okay. That's cool, but you could have done better, bro. If you're okay, you could have did better.
Personal accountability is the name of the game. You need to read the book, Jim Collins, everybody. Good to Great, because what Henry just said is exactly what Jim Collins talked about, this old book, Good to Great. Good's okay, but great is great. And there's a big difference. Henry, I need a 30-second takeaway from you. I mean, we ran long, but man, it's been a great interview, and I thank you so much. What's your quick takeaway for this episode?
I think one of my best takeaways is, teamwork makes the dream work. I have a strong team behind me that a lot of people don't see. A lot of them are doing thankless jobs. A lot of them are doing things that behind the scene that they don't get to make podcasts for. They don't get to, be on the news. They don't get that. So when I get a chance like this, I like to pay my flowers to my people. I like to make sure that if they're watching this show, they know that Henry gives a fuck about them. Henry, I got a lot of love for them. So, and that, and my city, Lansing, I appreciate everybody that comes in and supports my businesses.
If our show fits your business or group's mission, we want to be of service to you through our guests, like a Henry Meyer. Sponsorships are available, but it's got to be a fit. It's got to be a fit. Always remember, before you can share love with others, you must love yourself first. Thanks again to my buddy, Henry Meyer. It's been too long. He'll be back for sure. Sandy, Brock Fletcher, Craig Stiles, all of our friends out there. Mitch Anderson and Vanessa, thank you for what you do. We'll talk to you next weekend, everybody. Have a great week. Go out and ignite your life. Remember, the Tom Matt Show is a production of Boomers Rock Media. We want to bring your story to life. We are out.
The Tom Matt Show is produced by Mitch Anderson of Black Circle Studios. Original music from the Source of Light and Power by the Ark of All.